Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with our Samantha stories. Our next one is Samantha's Surprise. Chapter 1, Christmas Wishes. Wait, Samantha, I want to give you this. Samantha's friend Ida pressed a red envelope into her hand. Samantha pulled off her mittens, tore open the flap, and drew out a card shaped like a Christmas stocking, edged with paper lace. It said, Miss Ida Dean requests the pleasure of your company at a Christmas party to be held at 6 o'clock in the evening, Thursday, December 22nd, RSVP. Ooh, Ida, Samantha squealed. Her breath made little clouds in the chilly December air. I hope you can come, Ida said. My brother's going to do magic tricks. We'll play ladies' ring and charades. Oh, that sounds wonderful, Samantha said. Ida, I think this is going to be the best Christmas ever. Me too, Ida agreed, especially if I get a new pair of ice skates. But do you know what I really want? A doll sled? A dollhouse? Samantha guessed. No. A sled? No. A stereoscope? No. A dog, Ida said. A real Cocker Spaniel puppy. Puppies are so cute. Do you think you'll get one? I don't know. I've asked and asked, though, Ida replied. What are you hoping for? Samantha sighed. What I really want is the doll I saw at Schofield's toy store, she said. I want that doll more than anything in the world. What's she like? She's beautiful, Samantha replied. She's dressed all in pink, even her shoes, and in her hand there's a tiny little... Let's go look, Ida interrupted. The girls raced down the street. As they ran, snowflakes swirled around them, clinging to their knitted mittens, resting in their hair, and brushing their cheeks like small, quick kisses. At Schofield's toy store, the girls pressed their noses in the cold glass window. There she is, Samantha breathed. She pointed to a group of dolls that seemed to be dancing. They twirled around a taller doll who wore a lacy pink dress, pink pantalettes, and pink slippers. The doll held a tiny wood nutcracker that looked like the nutcracker in the ballet. I love that nutcracker doll, Samantha said. Well, do you think your grandma will give it to you? No, Samantha answered slowly, looking down at her wet black boots. I don't think so. I haven't asked her. You haven't asked? Ida was puzzled. Why not? What do you mean you can't? Ida's voice rose. Why can't you? Because of Lydia, Samantha replied, remembering the beautiful doll that had been in Schofield's window last summer. Samantha had wanted the doll so much that Grandmary had bought it for her. You mean because you gave Lydia away? Ida asked. Samantha nodded. I would never ever give a doll away, especially a doll my grandmother had given to me, Ida declared. But I gave Lydia to my friend Nellie. She had never owned a doll in her life. Not ever. Oh, Ida paused. Then she added, well, now you don't have a doll, so why don't you ask your grandmother for this one? Samantha took one last look at the doll in the window and then shook her head. I just don't think Grandmary would want to buy me another doll so soon. She would probably think it was a terrible extravagance. But you should ask her anyway, Ida insisted, as they walked toward Chestnut Street. After all, the worst she can say is no. Maybe I could ask her, Samantha said more to herself than Ida. They reached the corner and Ida raced off into the snowflakes. Goodbye, Samantha, she called. See you tomorrow, Samantha shouted back. She dodged a coal wagon, then ran up the Chestnut Street to Grandmary's house. Samantha let herself in the big front door and was immediately welcomed by the sweet, warm smell of just-baked sugar cookies. She followed the delicious scent into the kitchen. There was Mrs. Hawkins, the cook, stirring a pitcher of hot cocoa. Heavens, child, you're a sorry sight. Come, take off those old wet things. Mrs. Hawkins helped Samantha out of her wet coat and snow-capped boots, and then sat her by the warm oven. There, that's better, Mrs. Hawkins cooed, bringing Samantha the plate of sugar cookies. Get good and warm now. Here, I've made your hot cocoa just the way you like it, with lots of cinnamon. Samantha ate a sugar cookie and took long sips of the cocoa. When she felt warm inside and out, she said, Mrs. Hawkins, Christmas is only 2 weeks away. That it is, Samantha, and it seems like I'll never get everything done. Samantha reached into her pocket and took out a folded piece of paper. She smoothed it open and said, Look, I've made this design we can use for the gingerbread house. Mrs. Hawkins squinted at the paper. Oh, where did I put my spectacles? She asked, searching around the table. Samantha handed Mrs. Hawkins her glasses, which had been lying on top of the bread box. Thanks, love. I seem to be ever looking for them, Mrs. Hawkins said, setting them on her nose. Now let's see. She studied the drawing silently for a few moments, then remarked, "It's cleverly planned, Samantha, but how big are you expecting this treehouse to be? About 2 feet high, about 2 feet across and 2 feet high." 2 feet high? Are you sure this isn't a gingerbread train station? Mrs. Hawkins teased. It is rather big, Samantha admitted, but it's going to hold up a lot of things. We'll use taffy sticks for pillars and caramel squares for the doors. Cement drops make the best chimney drift, and for the drawbridge we can use lizard ropes. My, Mrs. Hawkins said, it certainly sounds fancy. But we can do it. I know we can. Don't you think so, Mrs. Hawkins? Mrs. Hawkins looked over the drawing again. Yes, Samantha, I do believe with quite a lot of ingredients and a lot of time, and just a pinch of luck, we can make this house. Oh, I knew you'd say yes, Mrs. Hawkins. Thank you so much. Samantha cried, jumping up and giving her a hug. Let's do it Saturday. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.